And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce the Honorable Edwin M. Lee, Mayor of the City and County of San Francisco, who will offer our welcoming remarks. And the Giants fan.
Wow, I get to use the stare, huh? All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Gosh, just to hear all the names that were just announced that are in this room, I'm coming in and I'm thinking, I feel pretty good about what things we have done in the city, but listening to see all the people that are here this morning, I want to say a great thank you, because when I hear your names, I simply haven't done enough. And I want to say thank you to the Interfaith Council for welcoming me here, for bringing us together as you do every single year, and to Rita and Michael, the entire board of the Interfaith Council. It's a pleasure to work with you to celebrate 25 years of fantastic work. We have a very clear agenda, and let me just share a moment with you what that agenda is. There is a lot of challenges in this city and a lot of success that is going on. And when I engage with so many of you in this room to hear what we need to do and what people we need to serve even better, and the people we need to be more inclusive of, I've got a really great sense of confidence that we can accomplish more. About a year ago, many of you in this room engaged me into what the affordability agenda should be for the city, as challenged as we are. And yes, we recognize all of the things that were challenging to us. But we made a commitment to work together and began with a very big anchor, and that was saying the lowest wage earners in this city deserve a higher wage so they can live a little more gracefully. And that became the minimum wage that our voters voted on. A big thank you for that, because being able to earn a better minimum wage, and now it's going to be called the most progressive in the country, but for us, it's not about the number. It's about the compassion that we have for people to be able to live more richly and deserve to. And now we embark upon the new commitment, because that one is done, and we will make sure it is implemented and done correctly, bringing all the business community together, as well as small businesses, as well as the people that are working. But we now are tackling, I think, one of the most complicated issues of our time, and that is housing. Housing for everyone. And we've already got, yes, please, we already have a very strong dialogue going with the Interfaith Council, but with many people in this room. And we're already building on successes that we have, and certainly with Leader Pelosi's help and so many of our other representatives, we have, together with the Board of Supervisors, a very, very strong agenda. We will build 30,000 units of housing, I assure you of that. We will make sure that housing is affordable, that at least a third, and there now is more conversation that more of that percentage will be affordable to working people, to low-income people. And we're building on foundations such as what we did just 10 days ago. We opened up, Nancy, 130 additional units for our veterans. And that was on top of the hundreds that we've done. We're taking segments. We are focused on families, particularly the women-led families that are on our streets with our kids. We're utilizing the great relationships we're building with our private industries, our successful technology companies, to forge the unity with them and with all the foundations that are creating so that we can build more of the needed housing. We're stabilizing our neighborhoods. We're pouring in more money to procure those distressed properties that speculators may be looking to, and we're going to try to get there first so that we prevent more of these just ugly evictions of people who are long time deserve to be in the city. We will do more, we will activate. I think we have all of the conversations with you. And I join and I thank the Interfaith Council for identifying any and all the properties that we can work together to make sure that the cost of housing is brought down for all of our communities. This is what we do for each other. And I know when GL led the moment of silence for the Brown family, I personally felt that we need to do more. And in our city of San Francisco, with our chief and with our law enforcement and with our DA, we don't talk so much these days about criminal justice. We talk about restorative justice. If this is the direction that we continue to commit ourselves to. And no matter how we may be compassionate about what happened there in Ferguson and the issues of justice, joining President Obama to get a thorough investigation, I joined with the U.S. Conference of Mayors to make sure we're doing all that we can. Here in San Francisco, our obligation is to our own people, to our youth, to make sure that we are reaching them, whether it's our public education institution, reaching them with our community-based programs, making the ties with our job creation and making sure they have the skill sets, having those conversations with them constantly to find out what their needs are and to bring more collaboration together. That's why I love this theme. I almost thought, Michael, that more people coming together was another celebration of the 4th World Series that we would have. But this is yet another great theme for our cities. Coming together, more of us, doing more, making more promises and carrying each of them out. I am grateful to this council. I'm grateful to all of you in this room. Let us continue not only working together, but demonstrating on the delivery of our promises. When I was in Bayview with people who are developing and creating jobs there, I've often said, I'm not interested in making new promises. I am interested in carrying out the old ones. And those are the ones that we've all, for years, Amos and others, we promised we would be our brother's keeper. We promised that we would have a compassionate city. We promised that we would do all we can to keep this city not only together, but more inclusive and more diversified. And that's why you'll see us leading the effort to diversify our industries, whether they're tech or healthcare, bringing more housing, more affordability. The affordability agenda is alive and well, and the people in San Francisco have this unique relationship to come together and always forge a direction for everybody. Thank you, and as mayors do, I get to again breach the church and state line by declaring this San Francisco Interfaith Council Day here in our city. Thank you very much.
Sister Elizabeth will lead us in singing, Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Please rise. And I'd like the insert for this song is in your program. I'd like to invite those that know the tenor and soprano part, they can join. And the more out-of-tune voices, the better. So everyone is welcome.
Let
Okay, let's give it up for Rita Semmel, the glue that holds us together. My phone's grown. I've told this story so many times that it begins to resemble the fairy tales of one's childhood, those that began once upon a time. But this is no fairy tale. It really happened. So here goes for the 2 or 3 of you who may not have heard it. 25 years ago, December 1988, a cold, wet month, the city's supply of homeless shelters fell short of the number needed. Mayor Art Agnos asked the city clergy for help. Open your congregation doors. Provide meals, volunteers, and other support was the request. The response was immediate. Clergy and lay leaders responded, and additional shelters were opened. Grace Cathedral, Calvary Presbyterian Church, Old St. Mary's Cathedral, First Unitarian Church, Congregation Emmanuel, among others. Other congregations provided meals and volunteers. By March, the weather improved. The crisis was over, or so we thought. But nature has a mind of her own, and October 17, 1989 found us in the middle of another crisis, the Loma Prieta earthquake. Again, the faith community met the challenge. Come on. Thanks to the leadership of Pastor Jim Emerson of Calvary Presbyterian Church and a generous grant from Church World Service, which was administered by an Interfaith committee. Out of these 2 crises, the San Francisco Interfaith Council was born, a shining example that despite differences on some issues, together we can do more to mend this broken world. But that was yesterday. Michael Pappas has today's story and tomorrow's promise. Thank you. Yeah. I almost forgot. I have a wonderful opportunity. Happy birthday, dear Rita. Happy birthday to you. I'm Lisa. I'm 39. Thank you very much. As Mayor Lee said, I'm 39. It is now my great pleasure and honor to introduce a fearless leader of our community, of our nation, the Honorable Nancy Pelosi.
Very much, Rita, for everything. Isn't she remarkable? Isn't she remarkable? And remember, we celebrated her 90th birthday. She's whipping right past that. Thank you, Rita, for everything. Thank you for reminding us of how we all came together after the Loma Prieta earthquake. You were ready in advance of it, as always. Congratulations to you and to the Interfaith Council, to Michael, for all that you have done in between to bring out the best in San Francisco, and that's a pretty remarkable thing. I am just delighted to be here. I've known Rita way before the 25th anniversary, so it was no surprise to me before the launch of the Interfaith Council, but it really is no surprise to any of us who've known her a long time how effective she is. Is there anybody in the room who can say no to Rita Semmel? If so, please rise. I thought so. But it's always wonderful to be here for the San Francisco Interfaith Council Thanksgiving breakfast. It's a particular joy for me today because we're honoring George and Judy Marcus, who are two very, very remarkable people in our community. They live their faith, and their faith is strong. I'll say more about them in a moment. I also want to take joy in the fact that my pastor, Father Westray, is one of the co-chairs of this morning's breakfast. Where are you, Father? Where did you go? There he is. Oh, okay. He's in an in-charge seat over here. That's how we usually see him at church. He's the thing. In charge. So on Sunday, no, I went to Mass on Saturday this week. I got this Rita thing here. I'm just going to kick it back a second. The little stool. Does anybody else need it? Okay. So it was very interesting to me. You would think I would have realized this full well, how many times all of us have quoted the Gospel of Matthew. We know it so well. It's our motivation. When I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was naked, you clothed me. When I was homeless, you... But at Mass on Saturday, this week I went, when Father, he has a really kind of a booming voice, and when he said the Gospel, it sunk in a kind of a different way. It was the Gospel of Matthew this weekend. And he went to the next part of it, which I want to reference because it is the challenge that we face in our country among some in public policy who pray on Sunday and then pray on people the rest of the week. You know the gospel. When I was come, you are blessed by the Father, inherit the kingdom. For when I was hungry, you gave me food, thirsty, you gave me drink, a stranger, you welcomed me, naked, you clothed me, ill, and you cared for me, in prison, and you visit me. Then the righteous will say, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When you see a stranger and welcome you, and naked and clothe you? When did we see you in prison and visit you? When you did this, the least of mine, you did it for me. We know that, right? Okay. And then, not as much quoted, but this is the point of the matter that we go through almost every day. Then he will say to those on the left, depart from me, you accursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, you gave me no drink. A stranger, you gave me no welcome. Naked, and gave me no clothing. Ill and in prison, and you did not care for me. And then they will say, Lord, when did I see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or ill in prison, and not minister your needs? And he will say to them, amen, I say to you, what you did not do for one of the least ones, you did not do for me. And these will go off to eternal punishment. Now, that's what's happening is people think, well, I did this, I did that. And we have initiatives that cut food for the hungry, cut the housing for the homeless, all of those things that are negative in an aggressive way. And I think that we have to challenge all of us in public policy, certainly not here in San Francisco, which is the model of the gospel, living the gospel, but in public policy to say it isn't only what you think you did, it's what you did not do and what you are aggressively not doing. Because this is the battle of the budget that we face. This is the battle of the budget that we face. And it's very strange because people base it on faith. God put people in the garden so that they could work so they eat. If you don't work, you don't eat. Or what about children? So we have a real challenge, and we always want to be optimistic and see the best in people and be hopeful about what we can draw out. But we have to not only challenge on the positive side, we have to say what people are not doing, because there's so many missed opportunities. And what is emerging is something that is aggravated by disparity of income in our country, which is being aggravated by what people are not doing for the common good, working together. And in this community where we are blessed with so much, the tradition of a city that has a public service and compassion, but beyond compassion, philanthropy to go with it along the way. Because people like Rita Semmel and many of you in your capacities have shown a way. How can I be helpful? You have shown the way. So we are a very special city. I know there are other cities that are special too, but in our own way, the way we were established, the way pioneers came here, the way people took responsibility for each other, the knowledge, the attraction of so many courageous people to come here and then to take responsibility for each other. So when we see technology moving in and all the rest, as we have and consider it a blessing, we have to say, how does that address our challenges? Now, I just want to leave you with one thought on that subject. If we are ever going to end the disparity of opportunity for our children, if we are ever going to end disparity of income for their families, we must end the disparity in their education. And that is what we have to do. And one move to that is through technology, as well as on the technological side, techies and humanists. Techies and humanists. San Francisco is the perfect place to bring all of that together. So I thank you all for what you do, because as I go table to table, I see so many of you who have taken the lead, who have achieved so much success, who care, who know and who care, and who get a job done. And that we are particularly blessed, well, again, as Rita said, when the Interfaith Council came together. And it's helped us in so many ways. And remembering what Christ said about a stranger, well, we have an immigration bill we could pass in a second. We could pass in a second. That is something that we are not doing for the least of mine, I said of mine. So in any event, I think that we have to hold everybody to the standards that they proclaim for themselves. And one thing that we have to do following last night, which was as heartbreaking an outcome, but no surprise, but nonetheless heartbreaking, is to listen to our young people. They are very clearly saying things must change. We can't have little incremental change. The President spoke so beautifully about this. We have to change attitudes. We have to have people be true to what they say they are when they profess their religiosity, many of them. And so that was really sad. Sad for me was when more than I should be saying on this subject, when the prosecuting attorney went in such detail. I was on the plane, so I heard every word of it over and over again. Such detail over and over again about what happened that night as he understood it, that they never said, and then Michael Brown was lying there for 4.5 hours, and nobody attended to him. 4.5 hours, and you know, we don't know when the soul leaves the body, but nonetheless, this is a person. This is a person, and we have to value people in life, of course, but also in death, and I found that to be, well, if you're going to tell the whole story, let's tell the whole story about how we value people. So all that I said about Matthew, and you know, we love that. It's the New Testament, Rita, I know, but I know you embrace in your interfaith. I'll go to the Old Testament, and I'll take it to Judy. Actually, I'll be very honest with you. I heard one of you fathers, and I know which one it is, but I'm not going to call you out, say this in church, in the cathedral, years ago. And so I quote it all the time, and then my conservative friends try to undermine, say, we can't find that in the Bible. I said, my father said, and that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But what Father said in church is, when to minister to the needs of God's creation is an act of worship. To ignore those needs is to dishonor the God who made us. You go find it. Isaiah, my favorite, but nonetheless. That's what George and Judy Marcus do. That's what they do. They're wonderful, beautiful family, interfaith, Greek Orthodox and Catholic. Never, ever, always looking for ways to be helpful, never saying no when an opportunity presents itself. And they do that all the time, and it's become like their aura, a way of life. You don't have to convince. If they see the need, trust your judgment, they're soft touch on all this stuff. They really are. In any event, what I mean to say is that they have big hearts, and it's so appropriate that they are being honored today, because they too truly do minister to the needs of God's creation and that as an act of worship. So thank you all, because you're all so special, and the fact that you are honoring them today is a perfect match. They're so great, you're so great. It's a perfect way to say Happy Thanksgiving to our community. And again, to acknowledge the extraordinary leadership of Rita Semmel, a force of nature. She has peace in her heart. It begins with her, and it spreads to the rest of us. So please know how proud I am to represent you in Congress, to bring your values, the Song of St. Francis, our anthem, to the Congress, so that where there is darkness, we may bring light. Thank you all very much for giving me that opportunity. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Congratulations, George and Judy Monica. Thank you, Rita Semmel and Michael Papa. Thank you all.